All right, let's talk about it. A true cult classic from the GameCube days is making a massive comeback. We've just gotten our hands on the very first previews for the Kirby Air Riders revival, and let me tell you, the buzz is real. Everyone's saying this is way more than just a trip down memory lane. So today, we're going to break down everything we know so far about what looks like a huge evolution of a game we all loved. Okay, so let's get one thing straight right off the bat. This is not just a simple remaster. The early word we're getting from places like Gamescom is that this is a total evolution. And honestly, this quote right here, it just nails it. Deeper, cleaner, and faster. It seems like the soul of the original is absolutely still there, but the ambition? Man, it's on a completely different level now. So here's the plan for today. We'll kick things off with how this new version pays respect to the original. Then we're diving deep into the mode everyone's talking about, City Trial 2.0. After that, we'll look at the new gameplay depth, talk about that signature Sakurai touch, and wrap it all up with our final thoughts based on what we've seen. All right, first up, the return of a classic. And yeah, the subtitle here says it all. This is way more than just a fresh coat of paint. Look, the arcade fun that we all remember is definitely still there, but it's clear this revival is shooting for something so much bigger. And this slide really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? The GameCube original, we loved it because it was just simple, pure arcade fun. You could just pick it up and play. Now, this new version for the Switch 2, it keeps that amazing core, that arcade essence, but then it just layers on all this incredible speed, some serious strategic depth, and a visual polish that looks amazing. It really feels like they're trying to give us the best of both worlds. Okay, now for the main event. The mode every single fan has been asking about. City Trial. You know, this was the absolute heart and soul of the original game, and the developers knew they had to get this right. And from everything we're hearing, oh man, they've completely knocked it out of the park. So, if you're new to this whole thing, let me just say, City Trial is an absolutely genius idea. Here's how it works. You and a bunch of other players get dropped into this huge city. For a few minutes, you're all just zipping around, smashing boxes, and grabbing all these power-ups to boost your speed, your glide, your attack power, you name it. Then, when that timer hits 0, you take your souped-up ride into a final, completely random challenge. It could be anything, a crazy drag race, a chaotic battle, or even a contest to see who can glide the farthest. It's awesome. So what's the new philosophy behind it? Well, it's pretty simple. They just dialed everything up to 11. They took that core gameplay loop and just amplified it. The city's bigger, the action is way more chaotic, and the result? It's just so much more fun. It's a whole other level. So what exactly is new here? Well, for starters, the city itself is way bigger, with totally new zones to explore and learn. They've also thrown in these dynamic, random events that can just pop up and completely flip a match on its head. Of course, there are tons of new upgrades to find, but check this out. This is a brilliant new feature. They're calling them adaptive challenges. The game might actually look at your machine and suggest a final event that plays to its strengths. How cool is that for a strategic twist? It's really no wonder one journalist just called it simply addictive.
And that brings us to the gameplay. You know, simple to learn, hard to master. That's the classic line, right? The original game was famous for its super simple one-button controls, which was great. And that accessibility, it's still there. But now there are all these fascinating new layers of complexity, just waiting for players who want to dig a little deeper.
So what's the biggest change? The strategy starts way before the race even begins. First, you've got to pick your character. You've got Kirby, Meta Knight, and a bunch of others, and they all have their own special skills. Then you pick your ride, your air machine, and each one has totally different stats. That combination of character and vehicle is going to completely change your playstyle. Oh, and get this, every character has their own ultimate attack. We're talking visually spectacular moves that can literally turn the tide of a match in an instant. Just take a look at this. It's all about trade-offs. The demo showed off the paper plane, right? It's got low strength, so you don't want to get into fight with it. But its glide, it's super high, so it's perfect for certain challenges. Now, compare that to something like the Shadow Star. It's a beast, high strength, high top speed, a great all-rounder. The big takeaway here is that choosing your vehicle is a huge strategic decision you have to make right from the get-go. And you know what? That satisfying gameplay feel, it bleeds into every single part of the game's presentation. Everyone who's played it has said the game feels incredibly polished, and they all keep pointing to one person, the legend himself, Masahiro Sakurai.
You know him from Super Smash Bros., and believe me, his signature style, that Smash Bros. Touch, is all over this game. I mean, you can see it everywhere. The UI, it's super clean, dynamic. It feels just like Smash Bros. Ultimate. The camera does these awesome theatrical zooms and slow motion shots for the really cool moments, making everything feel super dramatic. Every single impact feels so weighty and satisfying. And the music, we're getting these incredible orchestral versions of classic Kirby songs. Like one outlet said, the game brims with visual and audio energy, but it never feels cluttered. That's the Sakurai polish.
Okay, so let's wrap this all up. What's the final word from these early previews? And more importantly, what should we be expecting when the full game finally drops?
Well, the big takeaway is that the positives are just overwhelming. The speed and flow are apparently spectacular. City Trial is a massive success. The new character and vehicle system adds some real meaty depth, and the presentation is just top tier. But, there are a few fair questions people are asking. Will the random events stay fresh in the long run? Could the core racing be a little too simple for the hardcore crowd? And how will the other modes stack up against a giant like City Trial? These are definitely the things we'll be keeping an eye on.
And this right here is maybe the most important thing to understand. If you're walking into this expecting another Mario Kart, a super technical racer, you're kind of missing the point. Kirby Air Riders is its own thing. It's a pure, chaotic, wonderful arcade experience where the fun comes from exploration, a bit of strategy, and just embracing the absolute chaos.
So, after looking at all the previews out there, we're seeing a pretty clear consensus. The game is sitting at a really impressive preliminary score of 8.5 out of 10. That shows a ton of confidence from the press, and it's a huge sign that Nintendo might have a real hit on its hands. Which really just leaves us with one last, very exciting question to think about. If the final game can actually deliver on the incredible promise we're seeing in these first previews, well then we're not just looking at another good game. We could seriously be looking at one of Nintendo's best revivals in years. We'll have to wait and see.